everybody, and welcome to my new channel. It's called Cowboys Talk, Real Talk, no cap. That means we're going to have some real honest conversation about the Cowboys amongst other teams. But the first thing I need you to do is please comment and subscribe, and also share the content, because that's going to help my channel out greatly. So basically, we're going to try to do this the rest of the season, a little bit in the off season, and then of course we're going to start back up next season. But first and foremost, again, this is Real Talk, no cap. So we're going to get in to these fans. Let's talk about the fans first. Not holding nothing back. I'm a Cowboys fan through and through. Not one of the fake Cowboy fans. I wear it on my chest here. But again, I'm an honest fan. I'm not one of the delusional fans that you hear people talk about. We're going to the Super Bowl every year and all of that stuff. So first off, I want to bring up a article that I ran up on the other day. Let's take a look at the article, and then we'll discuss from there. Okay, as you can see, the article says Eagles, Cowboys fans voted most annoying by NFL players. Loud, rude, and obnoxious. I'm just going to read the article. It's a very short article here. I have it highlighted what I want you guys to know. And I think this is in regards to the Eagles fans. Just loud, rude, and obnoxious. One player said of Eagles fan. Another player said, the Philly crowd will swear they're the biggest football gurus on the earth. And we all know that's not true. The Philly fans are rude, are very violent fans, if you will. Throwing batteries at Santa Claus is very difficult to wear your team's uniform in their stadium, and they're just some rude fans. Been at the bottom of the barrel. As far as I can remember, and I've been watching football a long time. But the real issue I have here is the Cowboy fans. And I'm just going to read the one for the Cowboys here. One player who picked Cowboys fans at the most obnoxious didn't really have a stinging argument against them. They actually think they should win the Super Bowl every year. Which brings me to a point. Again, I'm a real Cowboys fan. I'm not the we're going to the Super Bowl every year type of person. Love my Cowboys. I call it like it is. Call it straight up and down the line. But I gotta say, we have some fans, and if I'm saying it here in my small circle, I can see the point that Stephen A. and all of those national guys make when they're saying that the Cowboy fans are obnoxious and, delusional and stuff like that. I mean, even just here on some sites that I'm a member of, I mean, some really big sites here in Dallas, the Dallas Cowboys sites, and fans are complaining. They're complaining when we're winning. And don't let us lose. I mean, it's just flip-flop. They're no longer Cowboy fans. They're trying to run Dak out of town. Everything is Dak's fault. And so when people say things like that, I mean, I can see the narrative that the national media is getting. But, I don't want you guys to think that that's every Cowboy fan. There's a lot of Cowboy fans that are loyal Cowboy fans, just like myself. I mean, we're familiar with the reality of the state of the team, and I can kind of take a look at the first 2 or 3 games, and I can kind of figure out what the season is going to look like. But some of these fans, it's just annoying to me as a Cowboy fan. Every post you see, like I say, we can win by 40, and they're still the Cowboys this, the Cowboys that, and the third. So I just wanted you guys to take a look at that article. I ran up on it the other day, and I was like, I cannot disagree with this article. There are some Cowboy fans that we can win one game and we're going to the Super Bowl. At the beginning of the season, before the end of the season, uh, we're going to the Super Bowl next year. It's next year going to be our year, and it's for the last three decades that haven't been the case. Um, so, but just wanted to throw that out there. Cowboy fans, we gotta do better. We gotta ride with our team. Again, it's not every Cowboy fan. It's a lot of us out there. You know, we have the biggest fan base in the world. We're the biggest franchise in the world at 9 billion. The next closest franchise, I think, is at 5 billion. So, quite frankly, we have quite a few fans, but you know, a lot of our fan base are delusional, and you know, that's just a fact. So, I mean, it used to, upset me on Facebook when I would see, people, uh, say Cowboy fans are delusional because I know I'm not delusional. So, I mean, call it like it is. We all try to predict how the season is going to look for our teams, and that's probably for us. I would take it. So, just wanted to throw that out there first and foremost. Cowboy fans, let's do better. Let's support our team, win or lose. That's what I do. And you got to keep it moving at that point. The rest of the fans, like the Philly fans and fans of teams that have losing records or not even performing well this year, I mean, you can't wait, after a Cowboy loss to get on Facebook or X or wherever you're getting on. And how about the Cowboys and all of these old sayings, the cowgirls and cow turds and cow pies and all of this. Well, you guys, I think we're 9-3 right now, so you've had three chances to be, online this year, to say that and get some new material. That's all I can tell you. I see a post like that, and I just keep going. So if you come up with some new material, I might take a look at it and kind of laugh about it, because I know what it is. But it's hilarious. Some of you fans watch the Cowboys more than you watch your own team, and your team will play that same Sunday, and then you will post about the Cowboys rather than your team. So, which is quite hilarious to me. I, I don't get that part of it, but again, keep posting about the Cowboys because, as Jerry Jones says, even bad publicity is good publicity. So the Cowboys are always being talked about nationally, um, locally. I mean, eyeballs are always on them. So that's a good thing about the Dallas Cowboys. That makes us America's team. No change in that. People are trying to say that they are now America's team. That would never happen. Cowboys is America's team and will always be America's team. So get used to that point of it. So that's what I wanted to say about that. Let's move to the next topic. The next thing I wanted to talk about was, the state of the Cowboys, the schedule, and all of this, that and the third. Um, Cowboys haven't played nobody, and here's what I want to say about this, and just kind of, you know, look how the narrative is being, put out there, and how they're constantly moving the goalpost on the Cowboys. Now, what they say is, even right now, I mean, and like I say, we're 9-3, so we're almost in week 14. We're in week 14. Uh, Cowboys haven't beat a team uh, currently with a winning record. Now, listen how they're kind of putting this narrative out there. The Cowboys haven't beat a team currently with a winning record. So, if I can remember correctly, when the Cowboys played the Jets in week 2, the Jets was a winning team. They had just beat the Bills. We played them game 2, so of course they was 1-0, so that was a winning team. And you have the narrative out there that the Cowboys haven't really played anybody. I just want to put up this Cowboys schedule right quick, and let's take a look at the Cowboys schedule because we're going to take a look at the Eagles schedule. We're going to look at San Francisco's schedule, and let's just see how these schedules differ. Because basically, I'm looking at these schedules, and I don't see a whole lot difference in them. But we have a weak schedule. We're not playing anybody. We haven't beat a team currently with a winning record. So let's take a look at the Cowboys schedule. From what I can tell, we played the Giants twice, played the Jets. Jets had a winning record. Philadelphia played the Jets, and we'll see that when we look at the Philly schedule. Jets beat Philadelphia, so we didn't get credit for that. The Arizona game, we lost. But here's what I want to say about the Arizona game. Probably one we should have won, but when we take a look at the the San Francisco schedule, we'll see that San Francisco lost 3 games in a row. The narrative on that is, well, they didn't have Trent Williams and then they have Deebo Samuel. When we played the Arizona game, no one mentions the week of that game we lost Trayvon Diggs. Emotional game, went into Arizona with 3 of our starting offensive linemen out. But nobody talks about that. San Francisco go in, lose 3 games. They didn't have Trent Williams. They didn't have Deebo Samuel. So we didn't have Trayvon Diggs. And we didn't have 3 of our offensive linemen, which is very, very important to your offense. So, and of course, Trayvon Diggs, lockdown corner on the defense. So, I don't get that, but that's the narrative that they're putting out there. So, we're taking a look at the schedule here. So, the Arizona game, then we beat New England. Then we played San Francisco. We had a loss to San Francisco. Then we beat the LA Chargers. Then we was on a bye week. After the bye week, we had the LA Rams. Then we played Philly, where we lost to Philly, which we really should have won that game. And I'm not going to even complain about the bad calls and all of that stuff. We still had an opportunity to win that game. We made a couple errors, Dak stepping out of bounds, and, the goal line stands where, the tight end caught it and he was maybe an inch or two. His knee came down before the ball crossed the line, so stuff like that. But we played the Giants. That's the second time. So we beat the Giants twice, then Carolina Panthers, then Washington, then Seattle. We beat Seattle, which when we played Seattle, they had a winning record. I think they were 6-5. But the narrative is what I'm trying to get to. Currently, Seattle is, I'm not sure what their record is, but obviously they're not over. They might be 500, 6-6, or what have you, but they're not currently. They do not currently have a winning record. So now the narrative, and I just heard this yesterday on a national show. Still, the Cowboys haven't beaten a team currently with a winning record. They don't care that they had a winning record when we played them. They talking about currently. If you look at the team that we played, if you look at their records now, they currently don't have a winning record. So that's the narrative that they're put on our schedule. And let's take a look at we'll take a look at the Philly schedule. And the Philly schedule and the Cowboys schedule is very, very similar. We're both in the NFC East. We both played the same teams. We played the New York Giants twice. We played Washington twice. And, of course, Philly played us twice, which they've beaten us once in Philadelphia. So I think when we look at the Eagles schedule, what we're going to find is we play all of the same teams other than 2 teams. We play 2 teams different outside of our schedule. But we have a weak schedule, and they don't. So let's pull up the Philly schedule and take a look at that. Okay, taking a look at the Philly schedule. Philly played New England, which we played New England. They played Minnesota. Not a very good team. They played Tampa Bay. They played Washington, which is in our division. They played the LA Rams. Talking about some teams that they're playing and that we played. Same teams on our schedule, on their schedule. The New York Jets, which, again, we'll go back to We played the New York Jets. We beat the Jets. Pretty handily. And the New York Jets beat the Philadelphia Eagles 20-14. So they played Miami, which Miami is on our schedule. We're going to play them in the next couple of weeks. They go Washington again. They've played Washington twice. We've only played them once. And then, of course, Dallas is on the schedule there. They had a bye week. They played Kansas City, which is one of the teams that's on their schedule that's not on our schedule. Buffalo, we're getting ready to play Buffalo. And they played San Francisco, which is also on our schedule, which they had a loss to San Francisco. And then, of course, they play Dallas this week. So just take a look at the schedules. Just if we contrast back to the Cowboys schedule, you looking at the same schedule with one team. I don't think we played Minnesota, and I don't think we played Kansas City. This year we have two other teams on our schedule that we play, other than Minnesota and Kansas City. We might not play Tampa Bay. I don't remember seeing Tampa Bay on our schedule, but other than that, the schedule is exactly the same, other than two teams from what I saw on the schedule. But again, the narrative is we're playing weaker teams. We're not beating teams currently over 500 with a winning record. But when we played them, they had a winning record, but currently sitting now, they don't have a winning record. So, which is an interesting narrative to me. The team is who they are when you play the team. Dallas have, or any team, have no control over what the schedule looked like, or what that particular team record ends up at the end of the season. It just doesn't make sense, the narrative that they're putting out there. So that's taking a look at the Philly schedule. Let's take a look at the San Francisco schedule, which San Francisco is not in our division. But again, you will see some teams that they're playing, which are not good teams as well. They've played some good teams. And if you take a look at it, really, San Francisco and Philly, they're kind of playing, these playoff teams on the beginning of their schedule. Philly kind of was in the middle. And if you look at Dallas' schedule, all the tougher games are kind of at the end. We're coming into our tough stretch right now. So let's take a look at the San Francisco schedule. Now, if we take a look at the San Francisco schedule, first game of the season, San Francisco played Pittsburgh, which in my opinion is not a great team. They're sitting somewhere around 500. I think they're sitting at 500 right now, or maybe a game over 500. The LA Rams, which we played, the LA Rams, which is not a very good team, they played the Giants, which is on our schedule. They played Arizona, which is on our schedule, and then they played us, Dallas. And then there goes the 3-game losing streak. They didn't have Trent Williams. They didn't have Deebo Samuels, but that was well documented in the media. It contributed to them not, winning those 3 games. But 3 in a row, Cleveland, Minnesota, and Cincinnati, which are okay teams, but they're not, top of the line teams. If you're really looking at the 3 teams in the NFC, they're going to be, of course, Dallas, Philly, and San Francisco. So 3 losses right there. And let me just pause right there because I want to say this. One thing that really kind of stood out to me, we lost to Arizona and kind of fell out. I don't even think we was in the top 5 power ranking at that point. But, we moved up about 4 or 5 slots after that game. Kind of hovered around 5 or 6 in the power ranking. Played San Francisco, lost to San Francisco. Went all the way to like 7 or 8, 9 in the power ranking. And then when we lost to Philly, which are the 2 other top teams in the NFC, we fell completely out of the top 10 in the power ranking. San Francisco lost 3 games in a row. 3 games in a row. And never got out of the top 3 teams in the power ranking. How does that work? I just don't get that. How does it? Because when you're looking at the power rankings, the NFL is a week by week, game based on you know, you winning and losing. So San Francisco lose three in a row, and I guess the power rankings, how they're making them work out is that they're predicting that because Trent Williams wasn't there and Debo wasn't there, that they're predicting San Francisco still to be a top 2, 3, 14 in the NFL. But that's not how the power rankings work. It's win, lose. You lose three in a row. If Dallas had a lost three in a row, we lost three, and they wasn't in a row and fell completely out of the top 10. San Francisco lost three in a row and never got out of the top five, which, I mean, I don't understand that, but I guess that's how it works. Maybe I don't understand how the power ranking works. So, but we'll get back to the San Francisco schedule after the three losses. Then they had a bye week. Then they played Jacksonville, which Jacksonville is okay. Tampa Bay, not a very good team. They played Seattle. We played Seattle. They played Philadelphia. We played Philadelphia. So, if you take a look at the schedules, if you listen to the narrative, the especially the national media, their narrative is that the Cowboys have a weak schedule. We haven't played anybody. We haven't beat a team that's currently with a winning record, over 500. So I don't get the scheduling and, where people think we haven't played anybody and all of that. But that's the narrative that they want you to believe, that we haven't really played anybody. We're playing Philly coming up this weekend, so we're going to see how that goes. And then if we win that game, it's interesting to find out, where they already coming up with an excuse, to be honest with you. If you listen to national media, they're already talking about the rest, versus the Dallas, rest that they've had. They've been on a 10-day rest because they played 2 Thursdays in a row. We always play the Thanksgiving game, and then we have like a mini bye there. So, but we played 3 games in I think 11 days, which we didn't have a lot of rest there. We won all 3 of those games, and then Philly, I think they played 3 games in 17 days, something like that. And then now the narrative is that they're on short rest, and then we're rested, and that could potentially be a reason why we win the game. No, we could potentially win this game because we're an equal team to Philly, or even, in my opinion, better. Should have won the game in Philly. Like I said, a few mistakes on our part. We had an opportunity to win that game at the end. A few things didn't go our way. We ended up losing the game, but a very, very competitive game. Other than that, I mean, I don't know why all these negative narratives are out there and all of these excuses, but Dallas don't get the benefit of those excuses. So, but just want to take a look at those schedules, and like I say, you guys comment on what you think about it. I mean, it's just my opinion about it. I wanted to speak about it just to see, get it off my chest and see what you guys think about it. So feel free to comment on that, and we'll move on to the next topic. Let's talk about my quarterback, Dak Prescott. MVP candidate, Dak Prescott, finally getting a little love in the national media, here locally as well. But again, some of our fans, I mean, it's ridiculous. Try to run the man out of town. And it's crazy here in Dallas. Hey, this is real talk, guys. I mean, like I said, I'm not a homer. Maybe I am. But I try to be true and honest, about when I'm having a conversation about the Cowboys or any Cowboys players. But our fans, here in Dallas, we have a Dak group. We have a Tony Romo group. Tony Romo been gone several years. I think Dak came into the league in 2016, played really well, and eventually end up taking Tony Romo's job. And he's been the starter for the Cowboys, ever since. So I made a prediction this year. Was talking to my son, and I said, with the season that Dak had last year and the narrative that was out there on Dak Prescott, a turnover king and all of that stuff, I say this year it's going to be make or break. Dak either going to have the best year that he's ever played, the best year of his career, or he's going to have the worst year. So there's going to be a make or break year for Dak. Of course, people calling for his job, trying to run him out of town. I gotta say, Dak Prescott right now, especially over the last 6 or 7 weeks of the season, has been playing lights out. Best quarterback in the league over the last 6 or 7 weeks. Now, last year, let's go back to last year when Dak was throwing interceptions. Dak came off an injury. Dak was playing MVP ball up until he broke his ankle or broke his leg, or whatever part of his leg he broke. And then, of course, after that, Dak had a thumb injury. So he was coming off an injury. And people really uh, didn't, contribute that to, and I won't say bad play, but he wasn't playing as well as he should. But right now, Dak Prescott, and you can kind of tell when you're looking at his pressers. Dak used to be the saying everything right guy. We're gonna try to get better. We look at the tape. Dak like, I don't want to hear none of y'all saying no more. I mean, cause Dak started feeling that pressure. He's out there playing some good ball, and I mean, I love Dak Prescott. I kind of followed him when he was at Mississippi State. He was a good quarterback then. Took Mississippi State to number one over Alabama. Uh, to be honest with you, with a limited Mississippi State team. So I knew he was a good quarterback. Well, he's actually turning into a great quarterback, but don't get the love that the other quarterbacks get. Just look at Jalen Hurts, and I give Jalen Hurts his props. Jalen Hurts coming into the league, he wasn't that great of a quarterback. In fact, I was at a Dallas game when Dallas played Philly, and Jalen Hurts looked like he wanted to cry. Looked like he wanted to run off the field and just not come back out on the field. Um, but he's turned into a great quarterback. He's a great closer. But to be honest with you, Jalen Hurts is not playing well right now. And you know, I'm gonna tell the truth about it. The man doesn't look healthy to me. I know he's had that knee injury, and I think that Philly is probably not telling us everything. You know, they're telling us what they want us to know about Jalen Hurts, but he haven't been playing his best football over I'm gonna say the last couple of weeks. But to be honest with you, the Philadelphia Eagles haven't looked the same this year. They haven't looked like the same Philadelphia Eagles team that they did last year. Defense is not as good as they was, but my thing, just talking about the quarterbacks here, I think Dak Prescott is playing better than Jalen Hurts, and that's just a fact. Um, Brock Purdy, he's playing well in the MVP conversation. He's actually leading the MVP. Brock Purdy is actually leading the MVP vote right now. But I mean, if we want to be honest about it, Brock Purdy, he's a good quarterback. I don't see Brock Purdy as a great quarterback. He does a lot of uh, you know, the short screen passes, and you get the ball in Debo hand, and Ayuk hand, and even Caffrey catching those little routes, those little dig routes and routes across the middle of the field, and they're taking those balls, those 5, 10 yard passes, and turning them into 40, 50 yard touchdowns, and that's kind of standing Brock Purdy stats to make him look like he's throwing for 300, 400 yards a game, but that's really not the case. If you're looking at the game with your eyeballs, you can actually see what's going on. Uh, but of course, that's not the narrative. You know, I give him credit though. I mean, he came in Mr. Relevant. He's playing well in that offense. Shanahan calls good plays, put his players in great positions to succeed, and on top of that, they probably have the most stacked roster in the NFL. That's AFC and NFC. So Brock Purdy is playing well, but right now, give Dak Prescott his love. The man is playing balls out. He's actually doing that. I mean, first couple of games, the first six, they kind of had it watered. Well, into the San Francisco game, you could tell looking at the offense, they had it kind of watered down a little bit based on what he did last year. All the interceptions, they was kind of they had him kind of handcuffed a little bit. And then after that San Francisco game, I guess Mike McCarthy say we're gonna turn him loose, and that is not just throwing the short 5 yard screens and stuff like that. He's actually throwing the ball down the field. He's throwing tight window throws. He's using his legs, which is very important. I think that's why he's being successful, because Dak came into the league as a mobile quarterback, and after the injury, which is understandable, he was kind of scared to run a little bit. I would have been. You coming off an injury like that. He wanted to sit back in the pocket and kind of look at the protection, and if things didn't work, he would kind of force throws like that, and balls would be intercepted. But right now, he's able to get outside of the pocket, make some long throws. We got Brandon Cook in there, which is kind of taking the top off the defense, and CeeDee Lamb is just going wild. Uh, no one is actually shutting CeeDee Lamb down right now. I mean, you can try to slow him down, but he's doing his thing. But got to have somebody to get him the ball. Dak is actually doing that. So Dak Prescott, big props to him. All you guys like Dak suck, and he's not this. If you listen to Shady McCoy and Joy Taylor and Stephen A. Smith and all those guys, yeah. Hey, just watch the game and look at what Dak Prescott is doing right now. The man is rightfully so considered high in the MVP conversation because he's doing MVP things. You can love him or hate him. Just watch the game. Dak Prescott, get a man his love. I wanted to get this podcast. Again, this is my first one. I know one could ask, why are you waiting so late into the season to do a podcast? Start doing your podcast. I mean, I've been thinking about doing it for a while, and finally found some free time on my hand, and decided to go ahead and do it. Not trying to make any money or anything off it like that. It's just something that I enjoy doing, being on camera and talking about the Cowboys, giving my opinion. And, it's just something that I want to do. So, something that I'm going to be doing going forward. Just like with the Eagle Cowboy game, I wanted to, get this one out here kind of early, and then do another one before Sunday to kind of do a preview of that game. But wasn't able to get that done, so I will be doing a post analysis of what happened in the game after tomorrow. So, but just a slight preview on that game. We know huge game, the biggest game of the year. Not just only for the Cowboys and Eagles. This is the biggest game of the year. It's going to decide. It's going to help decide what's going to happen, in the NFC going down the line. Of course, we got San Francisco, kind of on top of the NFC right now. The Eagles are still number one. Don't get that twisted. But, if they lose to the Cowboys, then the Eagles and the Cowboys would be tied at 10-3, which the Cowboys would actually be on top in the NFC East at that time. Now, Cowboy fans, I want you to pump your brakes a little bit, because it only means this, that we're going to be on top of the NFC East for maybe a day, maybe a week. But being tied with Philly and lost to Arizona, we would have to go to conference record. If we went out and Philly went out, that means Philly still would be a higher seed than us, because of their loss to Arizona. We would have lost more conference games. Not in the division. We'd still be tied in the division if we both win out. But Philly will still be a higher seed, because we've lost one more conference game than they lost, because that's the next step that it will go to. They would have to not look at division, because we're tied in division. We beat each other. We both are going to beat Washington, and Philly got New York 2 more times before the end of the season. And I mean, it's no reason to believe that they're going to lose to New York. So if we both went out, then Philly would still they will still be a higher rank than the Dallas Cowboys. But having said that, the game is still important. It's important to us because again, if you listen to the narrative, we haven't had a statement win. We haven't played anybody. We haven't beat a team currently uh, with a winning record. So, and it's Philadelphia. I mean, of course, Dallas and Philly typically split. Um, each year, they'll win there, we'll win here, or somehow we'll mess around and win there, and they'll win here. So we want to beat Philadelphia regardless. Um, Taking a look at the game, my keys to the game is getting off to a fast start. Um, when we do that, the Cowboys, we got a ferocious pass rush. So if we get off to a fast start and able to turn our pass rushers loose on Philadelphia, with Jalen Hurts being hurt, in my opinion, not being able to be as mobile as he was, I think we should win the game and win it pretty convincingly, in my opinion, if we can get out to a fast start on Philly. Philly, my keys to the game for Philly is they're gonna have to run the football. If we do have a weakness, it is the run game. Um, if they can run 20, 25 times in that game and we're unable to stop the run, we're probably not going to end up winning that ball game. The thing about it is, though, for Philly and Dallas, I know everybody's saying this is a must-win game. This is not a must-win game for either team. It's just not. I mean, would each team like to win the game? Of course. I mean, you want to win your football games and try to put yourself in a good position, for seeding at the end of the year. But if Dallas loses the game, um, it's basically for pride, to be honest with you. And um, same thing goes for Philly. Dallas want to beat Philly. Philly want to beat Dallas. But again, it's important to say that um, you want to win this game just in case the other team stumble. Like I said, if we both win out, it's going to be Philly on top of Dallas from that seeding perspective. But if we win this game and then Philly stumbles one and we win out, then of course we'll win the NFC East and have a home playoff game. It'll come through Dallas. Of course, you still got San Francisco. They're probably going to win out. Anything can happen there, but you want to make sure that you're winning your games that you should win to, for that seeding, because it's going to be much, much easier if you're playing at home in the playoffs, especially with Dallas or Philly. You don't want to go to San Francisco and play. Same thing. It's hard to play in the link at the Eagles, and then at the Cowboys. The Cowboys are playing really, really well at home. They've won 14 straight games. If they beat the Eagles tomorrow, that'll be 15 straight games. It's going to be a great, great game. Nonetheless, it always is with the Cowboys and the Philadelphia Eagles. So uh, I will watch that game, and then I will be back to kind of talk about what went on in that game. What potentially went wrong with either team, and what each team did. I think fairly well to win the game if they won the game. So uh, basically looking forward to that. Again, I want you guys to like, comment. I mean, I'm looking for comments on there. I'll be able to read all your comments, and I'll reply to comments as long as they're reasonable. Uh, Cowgirls and all of that stuff. This is not what this is all about. I want to have intelligent, uh, truthful, real conversation, real cowboy conversation about other teams as well. But I mean, just silly stuff. I don't have time to entertain that on this particular platform. So again, thank you guys for watching my first podcast. I look forward to doing this each and every week. I do ask that you like, comment, please comment, and subscribe to this channel. That's going to help me continue to do these, and also share the content. Basically that's going to help as well. So we'll take a look at the Philly game tomorrow. I'm excited to see it. I know you guys will be watching, and I'll be back on next week at some point to kind of go over what went on in that game and what to look for going forward from there. So thanks again, guys. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week.